Now, first issue I am going to do is the high idling. So we're going to fix the high idling. I'm going to put some new shoes on it because I've got some alloys for her. This van, I think I paid 180 quid for it. So, bit of a bargain. And we need to get it MOT'd and get it on road. What's up, people? So when we bought this van originally off the Smackhead in Worksop for £100, it was in Manton actually, so it probably were either a Smack or a Crackhead or potentially a Spicehead. It did idle just above 1000 RPM, which I believe someone's actually tried turning pump up to gain power, but I wouldn't recommend doing that anyway. It was set from manufacturer. Let's just leave it standard. So what I'm going to do now is set it back to its natural idling speed of around 750 to 800 RPM. So now on the back of the pump, you have got this screw here, and what this does is it's an accelerating arm stopper. And if you adjust that up, it will adjust the accelerator to a certain point, but that's not the proper way to set the idle. There is an idle control screw, which I'll show you, but basically this is the stopper, it's there. And to gain access to it, I will have to remove the inlet manifold because it is a 10mm nut, and you also need, I believe, a 6mm or a 7mm socket just on the end to adjust it. So someone's turned that up thinking they're going to get a bit more power. Now, you've also got the idle control screw, and you've also got the decelerating dampener. Now, what happens with that dampener is when you let off the accelerator, instead of it going flat to zero, that'll dampen it, so you don't get whiplash. So I'm going to have to adjust this all back up and set it so it's set to idle correctly. Now, that screw's being played with at some point. So, like I said, I'm going to have to take the manifold off and I'm going to adjust that up and then adjust the idle control screw, which is to the right. That there as well, that plastic bit, that is the throttle position sensor. We don't need to touch that. I don't believe anyone's touched that. So, let's get the manifold off and I'll show you how to remove that now. It's quite a simple job and it's 2 minutes, if that. Now, you're going to need a 10mm socket, so you've got a 10mm here and a 10mm there. And you also going to need, I believe it's a 7 or 8mm Allen key, which is, there's one down there and one down there. You undo both of them and that releases the actual manifold. Then you just remove that pipe there, which you just need some pliers. And the same with that one, you just need some pliers to unclip the EGR. And you're going to have to remove this air intake pipe. Now, down the right hand side, there is 2 vacuum pipes. You remove them and the inlet manifold literally just pulls off. It is that simple. Now, with the inlet manifold off, you do gain access to this resting screw. So there's your intake manifold. And as you can see, it's quite sludged up due to the EGR system. There's a lot of oil around rocker covers, so we're going to replace that gasket as well. As you can see, that's the EGR valve, and that's just suttered up. A really bad design, really. I mean, it does lower emissions, but it does coke your engines up. As you can see, you've got oil leaking from both rocker covers, so you've got an upper rocker cover and a lower one. So we're going to need to reseal them. Now, I did contact my local parts supplier, and they don't list a rocker cover gasket for the lower one. And the upper one, they do list one, but they couldn't get it for a few days. So I'm just going to use some high temperature sealant. So now we have got access to that, I'm going to adjust the screw, which I've just done prior to videoing. And I have adjusted the idle speed control screw as well. Now I've had this running, it will run without the intake on. And now it's been all adjusted, we are having idle speed of 750 RPM, which is what we wanted. So now I'm just going to tighten this up. As you can see, the stopper, oops, just a bit out of focus, but the stopper is stopping at the right space where it's supposed to stop. So that's all good. This is the dampener, like I said. When you're accelerating and you let off the accelerator, that slows the arm down, so it just doesn't give you whiplash. So what I'm also going to do now is I'm going to remove the rocker covers and I'm going to reseal them. So we're going to be using some high temperature gasket maker, instant gasket maker. It's brilliant stuff. And I'm going to clean it all off. So we're going to remove this top off, which is these little Allen keys and that pipe off. And then there is 10mm nuts. We'll hold the second one off, and I'm going to clean the inlet manifold out as well. And we might blank EGR off at a later point.
How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you?
So if we did remove EGR system, I think Greta Thunberg would have like a vegan bitch fit, because obviously it does lower emissions slightly, but it does cook your engine up, so there is pros and cons. So I've removed the rocker cover. So you've got two parts. You've got this lower part, which is held on with 3 bolts, and then the upper part, which is held on with, I think, 10 bolts. They're just Allen bolts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all the old gasket off. The camshaft's actually in good condition. There's no scoring or anything like that, which is good. I'm going to use this instant black gasket maker, high temperature. So once I've cleaned it off, I didn't film me rebuilding it because I decoked the intake manifold and stuff like that. So unfortunately I didn't film it, but it's literally just run a bead around the rocker cover gasket and then obviously put it back on. Make sure both surfaces are nice and clean. And you just build it back up as you took it off, basically. So I did also, I put some wheels on it. So I did put the alloy wheels on. And I'll show you here, this is what it looks like with the wheels on, and I'll just take you around the other side to show you what it looked like with the steelies on. Now the headlight, that's dull and nasty, like the rest of the van. So it did improve it putting alloys on. So I'm just going to put the other 2 alloys on as well. And now I'm going to service this because I do need to actually replace the sump because that's rotten. So I use these engine flushers. They're pretty decent, to be fair. It just gets rid of all rubbish out engine. Argue in comments if you don't think they're right and they don't work. But yeah, I'm going to chuck the other alloys on. It's idling nicely now, so as I say, I'm just running this engine flush through it, and I'm just going to leave it overnight and start again. I've put a Bosch oil filter on. I will be putting Bosch parts on because I do think Bosch are quite good, and I'm also putting an oil treatment in as well. So catch back next time for Scrap to Cash. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.